Hey crew, I've got the key to this 26 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro, and this week we're gonna see what it's like to live with. And stick around for the whole video because later I'm taking this and some side-by-sides out to the desert with none other than the Topher and Daily Motor. For now, let's see about the spacing in my driveway, which is 16 feet wide by 19.5 feet long. I've got the 4Runner parked very close to the edge, sitting next to a new Hyundai Ioniq 9 that my wife is reviewing long-term. If you want to see her content, it's at Mobile Mama on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. She also has that one parked right there at the edge. With that spacing, there is enough room to walk between the vehicles. Both have power folding door mirrors. We could get our trash cans through, but not a double-wide stroller. At the front, the 4Runner is hovering over the gutter, and at the back, there is enough room to make it in front of the hedge on the path to my front door. When first hopping in with the key fob on me, I can put my hand on either of the front two door handles to unlock all four doors. And opening up that door, that is the first defined notch. And yes, I could squeeze in here, but it would be nicer if I could go to notch number 2, which I can. And getting in, there is not a grab handle on the driver's side A-pillar, just on the passenger side. So I would have to use this one, or at 6 feet tall, I can just hike my leg up and scoot on over pretty easily. Then closing up that door. Little rattle there to the panels, but not bad. Hey, cabin crew. Thanks for joining for this day in the life in the 26 4Runner TRD Pro. In this video, I want to see what it's like to live with the off-road focused version of a family-friendly 4Runner. Let's begin by firing it up. And immediately, the hybrid powertrain does turn on that 4-cylinder gas engine. Let's listen to the idle from outside. Smaller powertrain doing its best to conjure some deeper baritone before it should settle down. There it is. And eventually switch off. So now it's an EV, and therefore only a brief and mild disturbance to your neighbors if you're starting out early in the morning. Before we go anywhere though, I want to show you where I would place the items I bring with me every day, like my iPhone, which is sitting on this wireless charging pad, and there is a little room around it for a larger phone than my 17 Pro. Inside the console, it's not a deep cubby, but I do have space for a slimline wallet and a meat stick for a snack, along with my Racebox Mini and a phone suction mount. My sunglasses are stored in the dedicated space up above, which is padded. Unfortunately, there wasn't room for my 32-ounce water bottle to fit standing up in one of the 3 door pocket slots, but it does fit on its side, and I put it in the passenger door so it wouldn't clamor every time I opened or closed the driver door. And my GoPro accessory case didn't have a cubby anywhere. You could put it in the glove box, but I don't prefer that as much. So small items, you'll have a ton of options. There's cubbies here, up on the dashboard, and 2 levels in the door. But big items, not as easy to find a place. Let me throw on my seatbelt now before I pull the gear selector back into drive. That is going to automatically release the parking brake. I'm going to roll forward here, not worried about clearance at all of that gutter. And turning the wheel, I'm going to bring up the camera system to make sure I easily clear my neighbor's basketball hoops on my way out. I should also mention you can remote start this vehicle. So if it's a particularly cold morning, you can heat up the cabin by remote starting it or cool it down if it's a hot day. Now that I'm inside the car, not having done that, I will turn on my seat heater at the first stage of warming, and my steering wheel shall be heated, although it's only 1 level, so it does get a bit hot after a while. And unfortunately for me, because I love steering wheel heating, I have to eventually turn it off. And I've already made a wrong turn because I forgot I'm going to a different coffee shop, so I'm going to test the turning circle and listen to the turn signal sound, which isn't that annoying. Turning radius, wheel fully cranked. That's a great turning circle. Happy with that. And as you could hear as I was accelerating, the gas engine is definitely on. It's contributing to the 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque that we have served up through an 8-speed automatic and is sent to a part-time 4-wheel drive system. Right now we're in 2 high. I don't need 4-wheel drive. and I want to maximize that fuel efficiency. And the gas engine is on almost all the time. If I coast up to a stoplight, it will shut off right before I get there, and if I'm just getting away, it'll keep me in EV mode at part throttle briefly, and then the gas engine does turn on. It's basically 1/2 step up from a 48-volt mild hybrid system that's working a start-stop functionality. So it is going to smoothen the transition a little bit, especially under braking as I come to this stop. Gas engine turned off. And we coasted up to the stoplight. Now if I'm sitting here for a while, I can put on the auto hold, give my right foot a brake. Light is green, we're moving away. You could hear the gas engine come on. And in fact, inside the cabin, you feel that thump as it does trigger on. You get used to it, but it isn't the smoothest thing in the world. But I don't think anyone shopping this truck is going to begrudge some extra thumps or bumps in a daily driving context. And what they actually do get in terms of ride compliance is impressive. This Fox suspension filters out a chewed up road surface like this one, along with all the tire sidewall of these Toyo Open Country all-terrains, to deliver a very pleasant ride, even with the chatter of the solid rear axle creating some shimmy over undulating road surfaces. The seats are also so comfortable, really squishy chairs that support me well and just help relax me when I'm moseying about town. One thing I really love about a conventional hybrid powertrain is that you don't have to trouble yourself, don't have to expense mental energy thinking about the different battery operation modes. You just use your normal drive modes here with this big dial. You can have normal, sport, or eco, and really the differences between them are mild. Throttle response, that's effectively what you're changing, and that's it. And so you can rest easy knowing the difference between you getting good fuel economy or not great fuel economy is just how much of a lead foot you have. And even if you do suffer from heavy throttle syndrome, and you might therefore need to go into the eco drive mode to somehow mitigate that, at the very least, even in eco, because there is that semi-instant torque and because there is a lot of it, you can pick up the pace pretty quickly. Alas, this morning has worn on and I haven't had my coffee yet, so I'm gonna rectify that here at Enchanted Coffee. That does mean I need to park, so I'm gonna do so next to this older 4Runner TRD Pro. Last gen, look at that. Going into reverse, brings up that high-res backup camera, got the surround view and trajectory lines. Scooting on into the spot. Is easy to do. Got the parking sensors as well. Chiming in. Telling me when to stop, please. Let's get coffee. Real quick though, because he may be gone by the time I get back. I just wanted to look at the styling of this older 4Runner TRD Pro compared to the new one. And I do like it in black. But the new truck, it looks tougher. I mean, the wider grille, the flared fenders, the one upsized tires, 33 inches versus 31 inch with the bigger wheels. And you know what? I'm bothered. I'm bothered that the old truck did get standard slider steps. I don't like the steps as much, but sliders this truck doesn't get. But it being taller and wider with that LED light bar in the front and the Rigid Industries fog lights, it looks cooler. It just does. What do you guys think though? Older or newer? Decaf coffee has been acquired, and I moved the truck to get a better look at it. And while I was moving it, I saw another 4Runner also in black, but this one was modified. It looked really good. I like the look of this truck though. And the throwback styling cue of the glass coming up to the roofline here in the rear. It's got an ARB rack, unlike the tubular one on the last gen TRD Pro. Ooh, you can see the forged upper control arm saying TRD up front. TRD Pro badge there. It really would look better with a set of rock sliders. Guess you're just gonna have to go to the aftermarket for that. Around back, we can see TRD Pro stamped on the tailgate, and further down is the full-size spare tire that's hanging really low. It's at the same level as the exhaust port. That's gonna hurt the departure angle. I do love that you still have the sliding rear glass, which you can operate from back here and grab something easily out of the trunk without having to pull up the full tailgate. It's a cool looking truck. I'd feel proud of it. And even though you can't fit a 32-ounce water bottle in the cup holders here. At least you can put your coffee, and it's got the prongs that stick out to hold it securely in place. Now I want to see how quick the TRD Pro will get to 60 in the real world. So I've got my Racebox Mini set up here to record. I'm in 4-wheel drive high, sport drive mode, traction and stability switched off. I'm going to move into the sport transmission setting and give it some brake boosting off the line. Ready? Here we go. Boosting, letting go. Now we're moving, kind of. And there's 60 in 7.38 seconds. Maybe next time. Haha. Oh boy. Now let's test the practicality with a Costco run to benefit the charity families forward. You know your stacking level is expert if even the Costco employees wanted to give you 2 carts to take all of this away after you got it to the checkout station in 1 cart. But will it all fit in the 4Runner TRD Pro? 2 things to address right away. 1 is that it's 6 feet tall, my head runs into the tailgate. And 2 is that with the hybrid battery pack underneath the floor and at the front, you only getting a little bit of storage, it is going to be difficult for smaller people to lift heavy items up and in. On the bright side, there is a lot of room in here. So let's get to work. Off to a good start here. Things stack neatly inside, and there are even cubbies on either end for loose items. Well, a leaky bag of baking soda doesn't make me happy, but this does. It's tidy, it's Tetrised, and there's just enough room for the towels and toilet paper. Here we go. Moment of truth. In you go. And now you. And don't worry about the rearward visibility because we've got that digital rear view to see right through it. Come on. It fits! Whee! So after returning my cart, like a responsible shopper, I can confirm that the 26 Toyota 4Runner TRD Pro is Costco approved. And for today's adventure, Mom and I are gonna go plant shopping.
Yes, I'm excited.
It's kind of plant shopping and plant returning because we have, we have
plant
2 of these.
Exchanging,
yes, because we have 2 of these. What plants are these?
These are Carolina cherry laurels.
Mama is the green thumb. She knows everything about plants, how to plant them, how to make them be happy in their new homes, and I just follow instructions. So we are returning these and getting 4 of equal size Carolinias.
Same plant, only we need 4 that match.
Right, for the backyard. So we're gonna go do that today, and this is your exposure to the 4Runner TRD Pro.
Yes.
What do you think of it?
Well, we've been riding along for a while, and I can tell you that this nice bucket chair over here is super comfortable.
Isn't it really comfortable?
Yes.
It's probably my favorite part about this truck is just how cushy the seats are.
Yeah, it's comfortable but supportive.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like the back is really, it's got me and the seat is holding me in place. So.
I like that was a comfortable but supportive, not butt supportive. Yeah. It is both. It is both butt supportive and comfortable but supportive. What do you think of the cabin?
I think it looks totally functional.
Yeah.
Everything that I'm seeing here seems to indicate grab me and do this or turn this or it seems very intuitive.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, big knobs for volume and the climate controls. The idea behind those, by the way, is if you're in somewhere a cold climate and you've got gloves on, you can still operate them. You don't need the dainty touch
that's practical.
A degloved hand. But yeah, I agree with you. Everything seems to...
Good size screen.
Yes. Yeah, this one, it's 14 inches, is a big screen. There's not a lot on it unless you're running CarPlay or Android Auto. But you got your nav, and that's nice and large, and then kind of everything else is self-explanatory. Digital gauge cluster is good too. Steering wheel, nice and chunky, and leather wrapped. I already mentioned it's heated. So, you were... Mom mentioned that...
Toyota.
It's right there in the dash. If you forget where you're driving...
Just ask your passenger who will read the word.
Yeah, even the lettering is raised. Like it's coming at you.
It's got little red liner. A little red liner on it to make it stand out and match the top stitching.
Yes, the red stitching is kind of all over. And the armrest is padded here and up here. That's my favorite part.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
You want as many comfortable positions for your arm to rest if you're going on a long drive. And this one is...
This is good. I just noticed your rear view.
Yes.
I mean, it's super distinct.
Well, yeah, it's very clear because it's the high-res camera that's showing you what's going on behind, so that if you had stuff, say we have 4 plants like we'll have on our drive home, and you couldn't see out the back glass, well, now you can see right through with that.
Wow.
Which is really nice.
I like that feature a lot.
I had that. It was very helpful when I had the Costco loaded up in the back
to the
end.
top. No
so visibility. I can see right through that. Otherwise, the visibility is okay. Out over the hood with that bulging, non-functional intake there, it raises that up so it's harder to tell where the front of the truck is. The A-pillar isn't that big. The side glass is large enough. When these seats are up in place, the headrests kind of block that back window there, so there can be a thicker blind spot between the C and D pillar, but at least you've got blind spot monitoring. The cabin gets the thumbs up from you, yes?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Would it still get the thumbs up if you knew that it cost $70,000?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? And you haven't even experienced the off-road goodness.
Oh, no. I mean, I know that that's why you buy this vehicle.
Right.
It's not just the looks, although the looks have to be
It's not even just the fact that there's a hidden speaker in here either, huh?
Oh, that's kind of nifty.
Yeah, and actually if you open...
so you can take it somewhere else?
Yeah, so you can go to your campsite, we'll probably use that there, take out the speaker and play your music through your Bluetooth. And then also, if you open up this door, there's a hidden light in the side here, one you can also port with you somewhere else.
Nice.
So it's got nifty stuff like that.
Well, they obviously think, yes, someone who owns this vehicle is going to be using it for recreation.
Yeah. And we have arrived at Armstrong Gardens. Okay, I think we scored. I got 4 rosemary bushes here in the back, and then behind the second row tilted forward, we've got 4 new Carolinias.
They look great.
Mission accomplished. Way to go, Mom.
That was great.
Yes, thank you for your help. And tomorrow, it's a very different kind of adventure with the 4Runner Pro. This is a good time to mention that if you haven't seen my adventure video with the 4Runner, that Raptor R, the G63, Can-Am, Kawasaki, and Honda side-by-sides, you'll want to take a look. Before I join the pack here, let me just set my 4-wheel drive modes. First, the transfer case into 4 high, and then the multi-terrain select. I'll choose just auto because, well, we're gonna encounter a diversity of terrain. The beauty of the hybrid is just that instant low-end torque, and when you are in the multi-terrain select, it peps things up relative to normal mode. It's more like an on-road sport here off-road. And a couple key distinctions for the TRD Pro would be the forged upper control arms and the Fox suspension with the piggyback reservoirs at the rear. That is going to give me more stability and more articulation as I go over these whoops and settle down a solid rear axle truck like this, along with those Toyota Open Country all-terrains, 33s relative to the 31s on the TRD off-road. A little more cushion, a little more absorption. And I did air those down ever so slightly. So far, I mean, I can still focus on how comfortable the seats are. Those are helping. There goes some mud splatter. Gotta join them. And I can't see. There we are. And get those into auto mode, please. Many more rattles inside this cabin. Whoa, that's a lot of water. A lot more rattles inside this cabin than in the G63. A German build quality there. And relative to the Raptor R as well. Now that we've paused momentarily, I'm going to show you the camera system with the front-facing view and trajectory lines there. We get the pitch and roll down low and different angles for the front and rear tires to show me what I am encountering just up ahead. And we're back on the move. In other words, we're back to playing in the water. Big one. Yeah, this truck feels way more comfortable at higher speeds through big ruts than the TRD off-road, which I have reviewed of this newer generation. I'm just in love with that instant torque. We got some room to stretch the legs a little bit. Good power. Okay, I'm gonna enter a more technical section here. So let's go into 4-wheel drive low, neutral, 4 low. For that transition, back to drive. We are now in 4 low. There goes the Raptor. And I'm also going to lock up the rear differential. And then, just to pull out all the bells and whistles, I'm going to disconnect the front sway bar for some additional front wheel articulation. And that's been completed, which it has. We've got everything. Relative to the Raptor and its width, making your way through narrower sections is a lot easier in the 4Runner. As the Raptor R is showing, we've got a steep ascent just in front of us. And I think this is a good time to play around with the downhill assist / crawl control. So here I can just set the speed by turning this dial and not touching the throttle. And then on the other side, not touching the brake. I can just focus on my line. And it's just going to scamper its way up with all that low end torque, articulation. Dexterity. I can see over that crest now. Let's slow it on down just a little bit until I get to the other side and see where I'm going. And now over here to the left. It's just going to drop us down at the speed I set. Let's finish this off with a blast up the sandy wall. Go 4Runner, go! Well, crew, at the beginning of this video, I pondered what it would be like to live with an off-road focused 4Runner. And after quality time spent behind the wheel, I found a lot to appreciate, even if you consider the $70,000 price point. Whether towing a few thousand pounds, mobbing off-road, or just running errands, the TRD Pro is comfortable and capable. The conventional hybrid powertrain may be a bit clunkier than pure internal combustion, but the low-end torque is welcomed for getting up to speed, and the fuel economy gains are considerable. With retro cool looks and all the conveniences you could want, both pride and pleasure of ownership are a given. The high load floor does create a practicality challenge for smaller folks, and a complex forced induction hybrid does raise the question of long-term reliability, but in many ways it's a better daily driver than its predecessor, and for those with the funds, it may be worth the high MSRP. I hope you guys have enjoyed this day in the life, and I will see you again next time.